Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of 5 Mechanical Keyboard Interest Checks, the show in which I talk about my weekly browsing of Geekhack ICs. If this is the kind of content you find interesting, definitely consider subscribing. Anyway, this episode will be a little bit different. I've been receiving some feedback that people want this entire segment a little bit shorter, so I'll do what I can. Let's get started. First up, we've got a 40% keyboard called the Oceanographer, IC'd by Hedgie in November. This is a $350 40% board with center-mounted USB, arrow keys, speaker, ESC protection, OLED, and rotary knob, aimed to run from February 1st through February 15th of 2021. Yeah, that's a lot of features for a small package. What caught my eye is definitely the unique layout and inclusion of OLED and rotary knob. But what really caught my eye is that it's using an ARM chip and a diode-less PCB. Like, you hardly ever see a diode-less PCB. If you don't know what a diode is, look it up, but it's mainly used for NKRO on keyboards. I'm assuming this board's switch matrix will be very uniquely designed that diodes will not be necessary for NKRO support. I'm personally not a 40% fan. The only 40% I currently own is a Romeo, but yet this board quite intrigued me. If it wasn't for its plethora of features, I would have said $350 is way overpriced. But I think at this price point, it's quite a steal. If I can somehow dig up enough cash before February, I'd probably use this as a small gaming board. The MechMerlin verdict is strong consider. This is an IC posted in late November by Bapodonu about Gateron Milk and Tea. These are basically milky inks with a colored milky top and opaque ink bottoms. To me, the ink top sounds better than a milky top, and what's not clear here is whether or not the milky top is just a milky version of an ink top, or rather it's the milky top from your regular Gaterons. I really hope it's the former, because otherwise this is just a very overpriced Gateron switch. As the milk tea connoisseur, I absolutely adore the theme, and if you're so inclined, I think it would be fun to run this with a board featuring GMK Thai tea, which is still currently on group buy, by the way. In my opinion, inks sound better than regular Gaterons, and my lubing is good enough to make up the difference between the two. So if you take away the sound, I don't think this is a good idea, even when using two of the more popular Gateron spring weights. The MechMerlin verdict is maybe. GMK Awaken was IC'd by BIP in early November. Kits proposed are the Neo Tokyo, Mainframe, and Data, along with 2 desk mats. Anticipated launch date is in January of 2021 with vendors Novelkeys, Candy Keys, Z Frontier, Monoke, Desk Hero, and Daily Clack. I'm a sucker for the colors yellow and blue, and I guess that's what initially drew me to this kit. I saw yellow and blue legend and was like, ooh. But honestly, I do have to say that the design seems too busy. Even if you just go for the mainframe kit, it's quite hectic to look at. By no means does hectic mean bad. In fact, I quite like how it looks. It's just too busy for me. If I had to choose between the 2 desk mats, I'd go with blue. This seems to look best on the polycarb and black boards. The contrast of the yellow and white rendered boards make it even busier, and to me that just takes away from the overall aesthetic. The MechMerlin verdict is maybe. GMK Velo was interest checked in early December by Ogi and is inspired by sports bikes featuring the colored gradient stripes starting from the left of the board. He's got 3 kits proposed so far: a base kit, novelties, and space bars. As this IC is still in its very early phases, we don't have a price, vendor, or group buy date as of yet. As some of you know, I have a love-hate relationship with either white on black or black on white keycaps because I think they are so standard and plain. This is a black and white that I like. It keeps the simplicity but gives me that extra oomph of color to differentiate from others out there. I do have to say that the key set itself is rendered with a different shade of white than what is on the keyboard renders. The keyboard renders look a little beigeish, which gives it a very vintage looking vibe. I actually like both. Maybe Ogi could have another kit with just off-white alphas. I think that would be a very good idea. Quick trivia time. Even though the set is inspired by sports bikes and I do love the novelties, I, in fact, still do not know how to ride a bike. Maybe with this set I'll learn, who knows. The MechMerlin verdict is strong consider. GMK Lancaster was IC'd in late November by OWL, and to paraphrase what Al has said here, it's inspired by a time when we traveled. He's using 4 custom colors and has 4 kits: the base, spacebars, alternate layouts, and novelties. He's even got 4 dust mats here. As we are still early in the IC phase, there is no vendors or pricing announced. I do have to say that this is perhaps one of the few ICs I've ever seen where unit sizes are listed. As our community grows larger and larger, not everyone is going to be able to look at a kit and in 1 second say, oh, that fits HHKB, 96 key, 65%, 75%, yada yada yada. Having something like this is more conducive for those entering our hobby, and I would actually encourage other keyset designers to provide this exact same info. What drew me to the set is because it looks like a vintage and rather subdued Honeywell with yellow legends. If you guys know from my last video, Honeywell is one of my favorite sets. I do have to say that the souvenirs or novelty kit don't make much sense to me, so I'll probably skip out on that if I end up buying the set. Like right here, this render looks fabulous to me. This is classy and completely fits with my color preferences. The MechMerlin verdict is strong consider. Alright guys, as promised, the video is a bit shorter. Let me know if you like this new format. I'd like to hear all your thoughts, good or bad. Anyway, if you have any more questions about any of the ICs I just talked about here, links and descriptions are down below. Alright guys, have a good start of your week, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye now.